Anna Shapiro. I'm the editor-at-large for Don't Delete Art. And this March and April, Don't Delete Art is partnering with Free the Nipple and its founder, Lina Esco, to expose how gender-based content moderation continues to censor, restrict, and erase art featuring female-presenting nipples. For decades, this kind of censorship hasn't just removed images, it's reshaped art history in real time. Through this collaboration, featuring collaborative posting, censorship histories, live panels and conversations, and work from artists who exemplify this issue, we're building a collective record of what's being erased in the digital age. Lina, before we talk about what we're doing, where we are now, I would really like to go back to the beginning. So what was the moment or the experience that made you realize that Free the Nipple needed to exist?
I think more than anything, in the early 2010s, nobody was talking about gender equality. We had kind of forgotten about it. And I think the nipple sparked a perfect way to come in and make it a Trojan horse for the much bigger conversation. I always thought about, like, why is it that it's when a man is topless, that is topless, and when a woman's topless, that's nudity. I found that so unfair. And that just kind of was the beginning of it all. And how can we quickly make a conversation be something that everybody's excited to talk about? And the nipple was the funnest, most easiest way to start the entire movement. Like I said, it was a Trojan horse for a much, much bigger conversation. And the nipple was kind of like the nucleus of the beginning of it all.
So, I mean, like you, as well as being this activist that sparked a global movement, I don't think so many people realize that the phrase free the nipple wasn't just like around forever. You know, you're an actress and a filmmaker, and obviously the movie that you directed and starred in, Free the Nipple, was part of the whole spark of this as well. So what came first?
Well, we thought that the movie was first going to come out. Again, it was a movie. The movie was pure activism. We weren't trying to, you know, make this epic, narrative that will get into festivals. We wanted to start a national conversation on gender equality. When I say we, my friend at the time, Hunter Richards, and I were really diving deep into this. And we thought that the movie was going to be coming out first, and then the movement was going to take off. Mm-hmm. But it happened backwards. 2012 was when we shot the film in New York City during Sandy, the worst hurricane to hit in New York. And, I had to keep going. It was so challenging to shoot a movie. We wanted to shoot it in New York because since 1992, according to the laws, it's been legal to be topless in New York City. But while we were shooting in Wall Street, a big, sequence of all the girls running around topless, which is really the opening of the film, we got stopped. We had permits, but we had stopped by the cops saying that we couldn't shoot topless. And we were like, wait, what do you mean? It's legal since 1992. They're like, no, shooting is different laws because what you guys are doing can seem like you're shooting porn to passerbys. We had no other way but to put pasties in our actresses and try to figure out the problem after when we were doing post-production. So that was supposed to be a topless sequence. So what happened in that moment, I made an executive decision and I said, any exteriors that we're shooting topless actresses and women, we will be stealing the shots. We will know where we're going. We'll rehearse it, clothed. And when I yell action, they're all going to be topless, and we're going to get at least 1 or 2 takes before cops come. So the sequence with me in Times Square topless, that was actually topless. And we had kind of mapped out how it was going to look with the DP and the camera team. And we went there first thing in the morning, and I just basically ran from one corner of the humongous Times Square onto the next. And you can see at the end of that shot, which went on for a long time, Bear Vino, the cinematographer, shot that in slow-mo, and she was an Steadicam operator. And we milked as much as we could, me being topless, running around this climactic freedom moment in the film. At the end of that shot, you can see the cops pulling up. So all the exteriors, real topless shots were all stolen. after our opening sequence. And if you see our opening sequence in the movie, it's all blurred. We did it like a blurred, and then in post-production with the DP, with the editor, I had to figure out a way to like, okay, maybe this is the time when we break the fourth wall. How do you justify the opening with blurred lines? So it ended up working in a meta way, you know, but that was it. And so when we were done with the film, trying to get a distribution company was impossible. Everyone said there was no audience for this. Rightly so. In a way, they were right, because nobody in media was talking about gender equality. Nobody. This is 2012. Nobody. It was coincidental that Instagram was just taking off, right? 2012, it was just the beginning of Instagram, and all these celebrities were all getting censored. So what happened was we were having a hard time finding a home for the film. And then at some point, all these celebrities were getting censored, and we basically said, let's fucking start the movement. Fuck this shit. This is what I said. I'm going to start the movement right now. And the movement took off. We started printing t-shirts. I started getting in on any interviews we can get to talk about the movement. And a lot of celebrities started using the platform of Free the Nipple, hashtag Free the Nipple, to justify the artistic freedom. And they're, you know, Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, Banksy was one of them. You know, it's just the list goes on of so many celebrities that endorse Free the Nipple. And they had a platform where they felt understood and they can use as their own. Like Free the Nipple is not just me or mine. It's never been mine. It's been everybody's. It's gotten this big because of a collective. We all birthed this together, you know. It's never been just a single person. Yeah, like the beginning was, you know, Hunter and I talking about this movie that we wanted to do to start a national conversation that ended up becoming a worldwide conversation that is part of the zeitgeist, is part of the lexicon now. There's classes in a lot of colleges that are talking about Free the Nipple. It's got into a whole other level. I ended up speaking at Harvard because they had a semester where they were only talking about Free the Nipple. So it's taken a life of its own that it's maybe just came out of my own, you know, vagina birthing, but it's not really mine anymore. It's everybody's. So again, going back to going and showing it to distribution companies, nobody wanted to take this on because they said, there is no audience for this, unfortunately, right? So I said, fuck this shit. I'm going to start the movement. The movement took off like wildfire. Wildfire. I never expected it to get to that level. Celebrities were wearing the t-shirts. Activists were wearing the t-shirts. You had thousands of kids in schools and colleges speaking about it. It just took a life of its own. And after that humongous momentum, for about 2 years, is when distribution companies came back and started talking. So we ended up, you know, selling the film to IFC with a distribution deal at Netflix in December of 2014 into 2015. And the film was, you know, showed in Netflix and Amazon and all these platforms. And again, like I said, it's taken a life of its own. It's a miracle the movie has made it out. It's a miracle that this movement got so big. It was just the right time and the right inception, you know, at a time where we didn't have that. And it was the beginning of the movements, right? This was before any of the other movements. I'm talking in the decade of the 2010s. And we were responsible for changing the laws on Instagram and Facebook that did not allow women to post pictures of breastfeeding, and that is big thanks to Shariah Semeli. She is a legend in the world of journalism and feminism. She is literally the best. So having her do what she did in collaboration with Free the Nipple, we were powerful.
Yeah, there's so much to comment on in that, and I hope if you're watching this early on during our collaboration, we're going to be having a panel coming up with Soraya Chomali and another panelist to be announced. But we're very excited to have her, and she definitely can speak to so much history having to do with the female body online, whether art or otherwise, and just the way it's perceived from the beginning of basically of the internet till now. And she's been part of so many of those conversations. And you teamed up basically around that time and really made a difference in the ways that Facebook, who had recently bought Instagram around that time, the way that they were starting to shape their policies. And I don't know, I'm sure you were aware of this, but the hashtag Free the Nipple, I mean, it is so famous and it was used so liberally by a lot of celebrities at the time, and still gets used. But it, until just this last year, until 2025, it was a hidden hashtag on Instagram. Like, you couldn't actually search just Free the Nipple. You couldn't search just the name of the movement, which was like a real, to me, that was such an indignity. Like, that was so frustrating to me, because it was like this one, if not the first massive movement that was born on social media, basically. You know, I mean, it was something that took off like wildfire on social media and reached all corners of the world. And it still does. It still resonates. So currently, I believe you can finally search hashtag Free the Nipple, and hopefully maybe that could spark a bit more interest to people online to search for it and use the hashtag. But it was a way of silencing the hashtag, the fact that it couldn't be searched for and used. So, like, where do you see Free the Nipple now? Like, what is the state of it currently?
You're absolutely right. Going back to what you were just saying, and you would search Free the Nipple as an account, you couldn't see it. And the last year we've been shadow banned. I think that's the quiet way of silencing people now on social media without, you know, having people know how it's happening. It's just the most, might as well punch me in the face than silence me in this level of shadow banning, because you don't have an argument. They're like, well, what are you talking about? Oh, we're not really doing anything. We're not. Well, you are. So, and then the other thing is the hashtag Free the Nipple. I think of maybe 5 years ago, we had, I don't know, like 30, 40, 50 million. Actually, I don't remember, somewhere around there, it was like a hashtag Free the Nipple. We had that, and that number was right next to the hashtag, but they removed it. They don't want to show how much power Free the Nipple has garnered since, you know, 2012, 2011 inception. The idea really started forming in 2010, but it really took off when the film, we shot it in 2012. But so if this account has been there since that time, why? Right? And even posting now on Free the Nipple, we are getting shadow banned. We have, I don't know, maybe almost 300,000 followers. And if we post something, we used to get 20, 30,000 likes. Now it's like 100, 200 likes. And you try to reach out to Instagram, they won't say anything. They're like, what are you talking about? But then another celebrity that has 20, 30 million followers does something like a Free the Nipple post or whatever, and I repost, she doesn't get censored, she doesn't get touched, but we do. We get reported, and we get warned that if we post one more time, our accounts will be terminated. Now it's becoming like a dictatorship on social media, but not for people that have 10, 20, 30 million followers on Instagram. No one touches those people. So this is a massive injustice, because we are the ones that gave, you know, the platform to speak in a very intelligent way, because we've done the research of what we're doing and what we're standing up for. But people don't talk about that. Back in the early 1900s, you know, men were getting censored for toplessness, right? Men were forced to wear a one-piece suit. They were all forced, and if you did not wear a one-piece suit, you were going to get fined $1. And it wasn't until these 3 men from Coney Island went to the court and they fought it, and it was passed around the 1920s, around there. And because of these 3 brave men, things changed. Had these men not done that, had these men not fight for their rights to be topless and not wanting to wear this one-piece suit, it wouldn't have been normalized. So, anyways, we need to go into the history of where it all began, right? Why is it that if I want to see a woman topless, I have to go to a 7-Eleven and buy a Playboy magazine or go to a museum? This is ridiculous. So it's a conversation that, according to some, has gotten worse. Free the Nipple did help, but we've gone backwards. Just like Soraya said, paintings are getting censored. You cannot see a nude painting being posted on Instagram without being censored, and also you're being threatened that if you post another one, your account will be shut down. I'm just beyond upset at this point about this, and we need to do something about it.
Well, I completely agree. I mean, obviously, with Don't Delete Art, where the majority of the artists that reached out to us are artists who are using the human body in their work, and it is just consistently misunderstood by moderation systems, by platform policies, willfully or just ignorantly. It's a sexualized thing, and that's why I find it so. I mean, your anecdote about the first filming scene of Free the Nipple, how you were stopped by police who said, "Oh, but people are going to think that you're filming pornography," like that just automatically censors the art form you're trying to create, because the assumption is that it's pornography just because the female nipple was involved, even though it's legal to be topless in New York City. Like that to me is just so layered and just so indicative of the mentality that has been driving all of these decisions and how art is treated. And I personally feel, as an artist who faces this kind of issue and an artist who speaks with other artists who faces this issue, it has gotten more complicated. It's gotten more frustrating. And there's just a lot of fatigue among artists about this issue, to the point where many artists have faced this for so long that they are changing their practice. They're just giving in. They're taking down their own artwork. It has reached the point of self-censorship, and that isn't beyond saving, but something, I agree with you, needs to be done about this, and this conversation needs to be had again. And again, this is why I love to talk about the female nipple, because it is just this particular topic that once we start talking to each other about it, you realize how absurd it is to identify this one piece of female presenting bodies and say that is sexualized, that's not allowed, and is so misunderstood. So, I mean, I know that you are especially inflamed over artwork being taken down. So what does it mean to you to partner with us with Don't Delete Art, to shine a light on Free the Nipple right now, and hopefully moving forward, talking about this issue more?
I mean, this collaboration couldn't have come at a better time. I think it's well overdue. I had been just kind of exhausted by the process of the amount of work that we did, and we barely moved the needle. Yes, conversations have happened. People are seeing it differently. But, unfortunately, we live in a time where social media is, part of our self-expression. And this kind of censorship really upsets me. I mean, the whole, what's it called? Shadowbanning.
Yeah.
It's beyond infuriating. It's not even like, and then if you do post something and you're following the rules in a way, but it's still threatening to someone, they're not going to check. Somebody's going to report you. They're not going to check. They're just going to see, oh, this account's done it twice, we're going to shut it down, without even seeing what they're seeing, because now they have machines, or the algorithms are just taking care of everything. They're just compartmentalizing things. There's no humans behind it. And so there's no say, there's no voice, no nothing. So I feel like censorship has gotten worse. For example, when we were trying to trademark Free the Nipple back then, I had to get lawyers involved to trademark it, because nobody would trademark us, because it just seemed like it was porn. The title in itself was promoting pornography. Well, the title in itself, Free the Nipple, was meant to be funny, engaging, and not threatening. But when you're dealing with legal stuff to trademark it, there's no argument with these people. They're all dinosaurs. They're all like, this is porn. We can't give you the stamp of trademark. That is the kind of connotation that comes, even just the word nipple. The nipple word is threatening. Mm-hmm. So this conversation couldn't have come at a better time. Like I said, I was very discouraged for a long time to even engage when the shadow banning started to happen, when, we just kept coming up against so many walls, because the momentum and the wave that we had run for so long with the movement had kind of just, peaked in a way, that, like, it was very refreshing to just hear from you guys and connect, and all of a sudden feel invigorated again to do something again. So again and again, I keep saying again. But I'm very excited about this collaboration. I think the time is now, and it feels like it's a new rebirth of something beautiful in between. Don't Delete Art and Free the Nipple is going to be incredible.
I think so too. I think so too. A lot of the artists that we are engaging with as part of this collaboration are really excited to speak on this particular issue. And I think that it's quite timely as well. It's something that people have been wanting to talk about, and I think they're afraid to, and they need to either have permission somehow or feel safe doing so because it is such a risky thing to bring up online. You lose your visibility. You know, if you even mention it, basically, right now you will get silenced in some form or another. So it's a really tricky time right now. Something that was very motivating and helped launch the original Free the Nipple, of course, was the celebrity component, that there were a lot of high-level people who were willing to talk about this. I mean, how do you see that now?
No, I mean, singers are more aggressive about walking out topless in a red carpet and big actresses than ever. I mean, there's so many artists that, like, it's not going to go away. It's part of the expression of us as humans, as artists. There is nothing wrong with the nipple. So we're just going to go on another round and another tour and do it all over again until we get loud again and we get momentum again. And they're going to have to listen because this can't continue. We can't be silenced by the algorithm. They just go back to like, oh, it's, you know, it just goes into this system and it just does what it does. But, you know, the people that have less followers are the ones that are getting silenced or shadow banned, not the people with big accounts. They're not. No one touches them. No one says anything. They have a free pass. So we cannot stop. And like I said, the fact that we've gone so backwards that painters, their paintings, their nude paintings, their oil paintings, their watercolor paintings are all getting censored, and they're getting threatened that if they post another one, they're going to get shut down. That is crazy. That is insane. Crazy. And anybody that can just go on any account and just report, oh, they're doing something illegal, and it rings back at Instagram, and they're like, oh, they just had two warnings. This is the third. Your account's deleted. You had 20,000 followers. It's over. It's done. You're locked out for life. And you have no voice to call anybody to help you unless you're a big celebrity that has a publicist that already has a connection with Instagram, and that will be settled. That will be like, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to do that. But most people don't have that support. So I'm glad that we're doing this together because we're here to do whatever we can. And for some people, this be like, oh, you should focus on other issues. No, it all starts here. It all starts here for me as well. Because at this level, at this nipple level, we're getting this. Like, this is insane. I'm sorry. This is bad. This is bad in our country. Really bad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there are obviously so many issues to focus on right now. And this has often, over time, been brushed off as like a dilettante issue. Like, oh, it's not as important. Like, there are other things to focus on. Like, shouldn't you be using your voice to speak about other humanitarian issues, human rights issues, and I know that you've also spoken on a lot of things. You started the Human Project. Like there are other things you have spoken on as well that have to do with equal rights. But it's like no. This is the origin of so many of our gender-related issues and the conversation we have about our own bodies and the different kinds of ways that they're now being attacked, regulated, made unequal. We need to have this conversation. It needs to be pointed out because people need to start thinking about the absurdity for themselves.
And this is something that we should touch upon right now. I've had so many interactions regarding censorship, regarding a topless event that we did in Venice Beach, or regarding this topless little thing that we did in Seoul. And when the police shows up, I always ask them, I'm like, who complained? 99% of the time is a woman. We have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Why? Why does it have to be a woman? When I was topless in New York, same thing. I'm like, who complained? Just please let me know. Was it a man or a woman? A woman. Most of the time has been a woman. And we need to talk about that conversation. You know what I mean? We have to.
I agree. I mean, the most I've learned about feminism and changed my opinions has come from conversations with women, right? Educating each other, having these conversations. That's what they, you know, Instagram, etc., don't want us to have the space to do that. Right? Like that's what we're missing is the space to do that. When we get silenced online, when we're shadow banned, when our accounts are taken down, when we're not able to reach each other, we're not able to have that conversation. And that's a massive issue. And art is part of that.
Yeah, totally. I had my friend, very good friend of mine, who basically was my muse at the time, starting for the Nipple, Sarah Beth Stroller, who is the freest person that I know, said once to me, and I think we put it in the film for the Nipple. It's almost like our sexuality's been taken away from us and now being sold back to us in increments.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I was like, I thought that was so profound. Like, wait, so this is, you know, this is how I can consume sexual content is the way you bring it back to me, not the way I want to indulge in it.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing. And again, with healthy conversations, I feel like we can get into much bigger conversations that hopefully it will ring something in these censorship giants in social media where they're going to be like, okay, this is crazy. We have to acknowledge this.
I could, and you could, I'm sure, talk about this for forever, all night. But I think that we should stop our conversation here and we could continue it at another time. But I hope that if you've watched this, you have also been as riled up as we are about this topic. You see the cracks in the system, you're understanding why this is important, or you're willing now to just go talk to your friends about it. This is like a really important thing for us to do as a community of artists, community of activists, a community of humans. I'm really excited about this collaboration with Free the Nipple. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, and so I'm looking forward to the next couple months, and we'll be talking with you along the way, everybody.
Same. I loved it. Let's continue it.
All right. Thanks, Lina.
Thank you.